Hello everyone, welcome to this walkthrough of the business carbon footprint calculator developed under the Ingraj Consulting Private Limited. This tool helps business measure and manage their carbon emissions across 8 major categories in line with IPCC standards. Let's go through each section in detail. Transportation. This section calculates emissions from fuel used by business vehicles. We have three input fields. Diesel, let's say 5,000 liters per year. Petrol 2,000 liters per year, and CNG 1,000 HCM per year. Each fuel has a predefined emission factor based on energy content and CO2 emissions per unit. The tool multiplies your input with the respective emission factor to give you the emissions in ton CO2 equivalent. Next is the DG set section. This captures emissions from diesel generators. Here you simply input the amount of diesel consumed in liters per year. Let's say 300 liters per year. Next is the cooking section. In this section, you report fuel consumption from commercial kitchens. 100 kg per year. PNG 50 HCM per year. This tool converts the quantity into energy into emissions automatically. Next focuses on direct emissions from refrigerant leakage, a major contributor to global warming. You select your refrigerant type from the drop-down options include HFC 134A, R404A, R410A, R32, and custom. Each refrigerant has a specific GWP global warming potential measured in kg CO2 E per kg. You then enter the amount refilled in kg per year. Let's say 5 kg per year. The tool will calculate the total refrigerant emission in ton CO2 equivalent using the formula emission is equals to GWP into quantity refilled. This section accounts for fugitive emission, a major contributor to scope 1 emissions. Next is the electricity. This section captures indirect emissions from electricity consumption. Grid power consumption, let's say 10,000 kilowatt per hour. Below that, you can also set the grid emission factor, which defines how much CO2 is emitted per megawatt hour of electricity. Let's say 0.71. Based on this, the tool calculates electricity-related emissions in tons CO2 equivalent. You can adjust the emission factor based on your country's electricity grid intensity. Next is the solid waste management. Here you report how your business disposes of organic and food waste. You enter composting. That leads to lower emissions but still generates some methane and CO2. Next is the biogas conversion is considered more efficient and results in even lower net emissions. Next is the exported for processing is assumed to be handled offsite and may vary based on the type of facilities set to 100% by default. The tool then calculates emissions based on methane generation potential and waste processing method. For example, say your business generates 2000 kg of food waste per year. You compost 50% and 30% to biogas and export 20% for processing. Once I enter these values, the calculator will automatically distribute the waste streams, apply the relevant emission factors, and calculate the total tons CO2 equivalent from food waste. Next is the wastewater treatment scope 1. This section deals with emissions from on-site wastewater treatment, which is classified under scope 1. You need to input wastewater volume in cubic meters per year. This represents the total volume of wastewater generated. Next is the biochemical oxygen demand or BOD in milligrams per liter. This indicates how much organic material is in the water, which can break down and produce methane. And last is the methane recovery rate in percentage. This tells the tool how much of the methane is being captured or cleared instead of released. Here I have entered 50 m³ per year and BOD 50 mg per L and methane recovery rate 50%. The result is the methane emissions from your wastewater system shown in ton CO2 equivalent. Next is the carbon sequestration. This is the only negative emission category where you can offset your emissions The calculator estimates sequestration potential based on standard values, typically 0.020 tons CO2 equivalent per tree per year. This is where you can report your carbon offset. Let's say 100 trees planted and carbon credit 2 tons CO2 equivalent per year. These values are subtracted from your gross emissions to calculate net emissions. And now when we click on calculate button, it calculates gross emissions total from all sources, sequestration from trees and credits, and net emissions, which is gross minus sequestration. You also get a pie chart showing emission breakdown by category for better visualization. This tool helps you understand your company's carbon footprint and plan mitigation strategies.